Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. Yeah, I mentioned I was playing the game Baby Steps. Have you
Yeah.
seen much of that game?
Yeah, I saw some I guess like beta footage of it or something like when it was in development, but I
Mm.
haven't yeah, it was one of the ones that I was interested in playing. It seems like kind of like co-op adjacent or something.
Yeah, I was interested in it. At first, I thought, like, the first time I saw a trailer of it and stuff, I thought it was a bit, like, bizarre. Like, I liked the concept of walking, but then the humor, like, didn't resonate with me. And then whenever I heard reviewers, like, explaining it, I thought the story seems kind of weird and like like a bit annoying. And so then I thought like I wanted to show up for like the challenge of the game, but I wasn't sure about the story. But I think overall, as I played it, the story really fits.
Yeah.
And it's like the story's like pretty lightweight and there's good like moments. It is like it's a pretty bizarre story, but I
Yeah.
think
Is
it
it kind of
connects
like the
somehow.
is it told in like the Bennett Foddy getting over it type of way? Like
No,
is
it's
there
pretty
like an
different.
okay.
Yeah, it's all like uh just the back. I guess in the trailer you can see like the backstory is like this. It's kind of funny because I'm 35 and the story is about like a really lazy 35-year-old that's just like sitting on the couch in a basement, like not doing anything. And then I guess for unknown reasons he gets teleported to some kind of world where he just wants to go to the bathroom and doesn't really want to like. It's kind of funny, like right off the beginning this character shows up and they want to like help orient you to the world and like get you started, and your character is just kind of like, nah, I think I'm good, I'll just keep going. And it's very people say that it's about like manliness, the game, like it's sort of like a critique of manliness where like men don't want help from anyone and they'll just kind of stumble forward and have not really clear objectives but want to feel like they're in charge or something. And they don't want to look like weak or something by taking help from other people, even if it's like if they have to do really bizarre things around that.
Yeah. Yeah, I always think it's interesting to hear like it's way interesting to see art from somebody about that. Like, yeah, that sounds like an interesting game to me now too. Cause like whenever like it's like a narrative story or something about somebody like almost like self-criticizing something about themselves, like that's always very interesting to me because it's like a unique
Mm.
perspective on like an issue that probably a lot of people have. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
it's been
video
fun to
games are
play.
like yeah, good.
Yeah, yeah, these ones, I'm glad I played it. Yeah, it's very interesting because I guess it's also just strange, like a game that's very like, you like lift and move each of your feet and you're always falling and redoing sections. And so even like it is a strange thing in general to like want to play a game like that. And then also, but then I guess just also,
Mhm.
it's funny how like just the way that I feel about this story is sort of like I'm unsure how into the story I want to be, or like how much I trust the story to be something that I'm interested in. But
Yeah.
that's the same thing of like, but it's like, do I really have a choice? Sort of like thing. Like that's what life is just like meeting characters and interacting with people. And so then this is more of the same. It's just like life is like trying to complete arbitrary objectives for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, it
The
seems
only
almost
Yeah.
like a meme version of like Death Stranding or something a little bit. Like with the walking mechanics and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it is funny. I never played Death Stranding, but sometimes, yeah, like the way the rocks are and stuff, it reminds me of like a Death Stranding game, but there's no bags or anything. It's just like a
Yeah.
guy trying to walk.
He's like his own baggage.
But yeah, I've had some thoughts like as I've playing the game, very like thoughts just parallels to the the weird arbitrary pursuit of some kind of challenge that's in front of me for no reason, like in this case because the game is proposing the challenge.
Mhm.
And then, but then sometimes like the game gives you like an easy way out that you can choose to do, or you can just like do it the hard way. And it kind of makes a point of like not signaling that you've done it the hard way. Like you do it the hard
Right.
way, and there's no reason should have done that. And
Is it like does it like unveil
mm,
the easier path like after you failed at the harder way multiple times or something? Or does it like immediately you can see which way is harder and which way is easier?
kind of, it's very like loose and flowing. Like sometimes you like you take one path that's a bit longer and easier, and then if you mess up and fall down, you'll have gained like skill in the game that you can then use to identify like, oh, I actually can walk up this slope and it's much faster, but like you wouldn't have been able to do that originally because you don't have like enough skill to get up the or like identify that a path is
Yeah,
climbable. But then
that's
yeah,
cool. I like
there
that
is
type of
also
gameplay.
yeah. Then there's like big moments where the story kind of directly addresses like here's the easy way and here's the hard way, and there's kind of like these little funny scenes where the character like wants to not, he like resists taking help from other people. So if they tell him like I've made a good trail here, then he's kind of like, no, I think I'll do it like my other way. I'll be fine. Like,
Yeah.
but it is weird. Like for me, like because I feel like the one message of the game is like why not take help from other people and do things the easier way, but then I'm also like playing this game and it is a rewarding game, like it is fun to arbitrarily play this hard game and get to the end and not being, I assume there's no like grand reward at the end, especially based on the story. So then it makes me feel like, but then I think I will feel like a sense of accomplishment when I beat the game. So that seems to be a bit like counter to this story because the whole story is about like why would someone do a really hard challenge for no reason? But then that is what every player of the game is doing, and then just like any game, you beat the game, and that's what we're looking for is some kind of accomplishment after a hard challenge. So then I don't, but I guess the game is pretty meta like that. It's sort of, I guess the game itself is guiding you through that and just making you reflect on this behavior that many people seem to have where they want some kind of arbitrary hard challenge. But then,
Mhm.
but also, yeah, it is weird being like, feel like, sitting there like playing a video game all day, being like, this is just being like lazy. Like I'm not going out into the world. I don't want like real world challenges, but I'm really into this like thing that's this like packaged box challenge for me that I can like sit here and play.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it feels like a meditation where as you're playing it, you're like, am I this character in this game where like I'm just sitting on a couch like playing this game and like sort of wanting to do things my way, the path that I choose. And if there's like an obstacle that's hard to get over, sometimes I just keep going at that same obstacle, not searching for like an easier path around or something, even though I know like
Yeah.
there probably is like I could approach it from a different angle, have it easier.
Yeah. I think
So yeah,
that's
it's very like
something.
it's like self-referential in a fascinating way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think something about like large cities, like living in large cities, like there's less like depth of conversation, I think, like in real person with real people. Like kind of everybody like isn't willing to have like a deep conversation and like they don't really know each other that well because it's a bunch of people condensed into a small space. So like I feel like video games like that where it's like a deep perspective narrative from the artist, like it's almost like filling in a gap that like people that don't live in like small towns are like missing or something. Like they don't have that closeness of community where like they can have like deeper level conversations maybe, because I find that like that's something that draws me to video games too. Like I really like walking simulators where like the main character is like experiencing a story. Like Firewatch was like really good, and I think that's like one of the things that draws me to it is like yeah, not very many people in large cities that feel connected enough to like have like personal conversations. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that is one interest. There's so many things about like modern life and being in cities and stuff, but yeah, that's definitely one thing is definitely feeling like rushed all the time and
Yeah,
not, yeah, there's not a lot of like slow places to just kind of like slow environments that invite one to just kind of wander and talk and hang around a bit more. There's always like timings or people are like waiting, yeah, like waiting for some public transit or waiting for the light to change or
yeah.
headed somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like because I play games online with friends and stuff too, but and we'll play like cozy games that are like yeah, intentionally slow, like web fishing and stuff like that. And like it's almost like that's like an experience that like we can't really go out and get as a group anywhere because
Mhm.
like the anxiety of like being in a group in public or like together, I guess like just like the city environment. Like there's not too many places you can go in a city where yeah, it feels meditative. Like maybe like a museum. Like there's some museums that have like Zen gardens and stuff. But like that doesn't really seem like a group activity that I would do in person with friends. Whereas like doing like an online game where we're in a Zen garden is something that I would.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's strange.
Yeah, it feels not it feels like yeah, like the world really kind of designed away those kind of spaces in reality. And then games bring them back a little bit. And as long as like it's a bunch of indie games and it like it's if it's like friends hanging out on Discord with an indie game, it feels pretty healthy or at least like good enough. But then when looking at like the next generation of like Roblox and stuff, it's sort of like
Mhm.
a single video game. You know, like kids don't get to like go to each other's houses or like play outside or something. They just like their entire social thing is owned by like one company, like Roblox. And whenever they like play or make their own stuff, they get like a small cut of the sales, you know, and then it goes
Yeah.
to like Roblox. It's kind of like uh that's pretty troubling that we're sort of creating this world where it's like not fun to be outside. Kids are at computers and then companies own their interactions and like monetize it.
Yeah.
That's sort of that feels
Yeah, it
uh
feels like a little bit
mhm.
sweatshoppy and like well, I mean, it feels really exploitative. Like I think at this point everybody kind of knows Roblox is like the the yeah, like I mean,
Yeah,
like I'm not
weird.
trying to say
Yeah.
they're the only ones or something that has weird stuff going on their platforms, but like
They're
they
pretty
are like
dominant though.
they're yeah, they're very like they're the most like business centric. Like they care. It sounds like they very much care the most about yeah, like their business the most, and it's like up to everybody else to manage themselves on their platform. Like they don't want to have a hand
Mhm.
in managing their end users' behavior on the platform at all. And it's kind of like Roblox is just interesting because like it's like yeah, like what do we do? Like what do we do? And like is there should we do anything? Like where is the problem? Like is the problem in the end users not managing themselves like in their environments, or is it how much of it is the company responsible for? Like, it's really weird
Mhm.
because like the digital space is relatively new. Like online and digital space is relatively new. So it feels like we don't know how like yeah, like we don't know how to like police those spaces or something. And
Mhm.
like they definitely like it feels like they do need as much policing as like the real world has. But there's also like less room for like physical damage to be done to people. So it's like it's hard to say like I don't know. It's so interesting because yeah, like exploitation of people that was happening in physical environments before is like transitioning to happening digitally like basically as soon as it was able to like and it's evolving
Mhm.
kind of the same way it does in like the physical real world. So it's yeah, it's interesting to see and to think about, and like it's scary because like a lot of people in government are like in older age and like they don't understand like it feels like they don't understand like the the very intricate like nuances in the issues to be able to pass laws and bills about like what is going on and like how to prevent and stop it and things like that. And
Mhm.
like especially when they're told like hey, it is going to affect how much money you make, like if you put in the rules that you need to stop these things, like you're definitely not going to make like as much money as you're making now. Like as soon as they hear that, like that's a huge like that affects the whole economy obviously, like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot about I think a lot about digital spaces. So it's I have a lot to say, I think, about yeah, any of those issues.
Yeah, because yeah, digital spaces feel like they could be so good, but sometimes there's like just kind of not a lot of like one thing I think about is like I like programming in like React JS, and there's this like nice component model where you can make like UI elements that are very like self-contained and reusable. And it would be nice if they could just take all those like standards from the React.js way and just have that be how like the native internet works. So you could write in this like fairly sophisticated, like you could build like wrote like good components that people could reuse, but that would be how like if you just give that to a browser directly, it would know how to use it instead of you need like a lot of extra middle layer code that you have to download to run like a React project.
Mm.
And so it sort of feels because then the like that's something we don't have today that you have to use these like heavyweight frameworks or that have like opinions or something instead of just writing stuff that will run in the web directly. But if we could build on that further by making like like if you had components that represented all the different parts of like a video game, then and if you took like the way Roblox works where you can like make the users can make their own games, it would be cool if you could just open like the internet itself and write fairly high level code that would quickly like create a game, and there'd be like a way of describing like the rule set, like it would be even like a drag drop editor like Roblox, and you could publish a game that would just like be directly on the internet, and everyone else just having the internet and a browser could like play your game and make their own games. And if that was like if part of the internet was kind of designed to just allow people to easily accomplish that, not from like basic low level sort of code where you have to write like your own physics and everything, but if there was just a way to tell the browser like, yeah, like I want physics, I want these objects, I want a scene, I want like a first person camera, this is like a, you know, a trigger zone over here. If you could sort of like describe that, and if there was no like company or engine needed, if it was just like in the public domain, you could write that stuff. I feel like that would be a nice place to get to, where everybody just has nice like open free tools that everybody can use and run games in, and other stuff too, like even like movie editing and stuff. If there was just basic tools for like making and sharing videos that just were like open on the internet for free and not like tied to a server or some monthly fee, like it would just be available for people. It'd be kind of cool to
Mhm.
like have those things be very open and accessible.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw recently there was like I think it might have been Unreal Engine that had like some sort of bug like that was affecting like every single game or something that it had to be patched. That's
I
interesting.
never saw that.
Yeah. I think it was Unreal Engine. I don't know. I saw like multiple of my games like in their news feeds saying like update the game right away. So
Oh
it's
yeah, I
like
saw. Yeah, there might have been some like, kind of vulnerability thing.
yeah. There's this game I put in the chat here called like Whisper Mountain Outbreak that I've been playing recently too with some friends. It's a pretty good one. I'd recommend that one for like if you're gonna play like a game with friends or something. It's like a zombie survival game, but it's kind of like a roguelite where you like progress through different like increasingly difficult levels. And you can only like yeah, you can like level up and acquire weapons, and then like the ending battle is kind of like everything that like your team is like gathered along the way is like you fight off like a horde with that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but like the music is really really well done in this one too. Yeah.
Have you beaten like a full session, like
Yeah.
the ending boss? And it's
Yeah, I
still
think
what sort of what's the incentive to like replay, or like I guess yeah, like how do you find it's just like engaging each time?
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty engaging each time. Like I found well, I guess like the items on the maps and stuff aren't like too randomly generated or anything, so like it is the same objectives on the same maps every time. But like the fact that it's yeah, like a roguelite and just like the way yeah, the way that you can like progress through the levels and you don't need to do all of them. Like I can see like me and my friends spending quite a lot of time like thinking about like the fastest way to beat the game and stuff like that, and like trying to like condense it down into like the shortest amount of time or something. It'd be fun.
It's got an interesting art style. The way there's like the lighting, but it's 3D, and then kind of like 2.5D ish.
Yeah.
I wonder about everything's like gory and stuff. I often find that I want things to be like more clean and less like bloody or something.
Mhm.
But somehow like a lot of like creative people when they're making environments or like even in baby steps, there's like humor always ends up being a little bit like grotesque or vulgar or like
Mhm.
gory. And I wonder if that's just the lowest common denominator way to communicate to people, like there's something is evil and you need to kill it or something, and it's just like a very easy way to communicate that. Like you'd have to sort of explain what is going on instead if you didn't just use basic
Yeah.
like death or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, horror is, like, interesting to me too, thinking about, like, yeah, how you can make something seem like, how you can make something seem, like, evil to somebody, like, without actually communicating any words or anything, yeah, like,
Mhm.
spiraling black smoke and, like, stuff like that is, like it's, like, usually, like, everybody will be like, "Yeah, that's evil," like but
Yeah.
it's just interesting that that's like a common, yeah, like just like common things like veins that aren't the right color and stuff like that. Like I guess things that like things that things that make people think of like imminent death or something like is always evil. But then it's like what different things can trigger that response of like imminent death. Like it's like let's put them all into a game and call it a horror game.
Yeah, because I guess if you don't use like the conventional like scary monsters, you could make something else, but then you have to have something in the story that communicates like these things look very normal, but they're like evil. And
Mhm.
then if you're not like killing them, you could be like, I guess you could cast it all as like some kind of training environment where like you're training to infiltrate something, and it's like a paintball esque game. Like everything's the same, only it's like a paintball training simulator. But
Yeah.
then that's still just sort of that's just one layer like removed from direct violence. It's still like saying that there's violence, but it's just like practice violence or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there was this game that I was playing called Battle I think it was called Battle Royale. Uh or like no, it was like basically like PUBG but with like toy soldiers. And I think
Hmm.
it's not I'm going to try and find it. Yeah, it was called Mini Royale. Yeah, I literally just called it the genre Battle Royale. There's this one. I don't think enough people play this one anymore for the servers to actually be like on because I did try to go into a match the other day and there was nobody playing or there's like 100 people playing or something, but it's like they're all on like a different server somewhere not near me, I guess.
Pretty much seems like Army Men, but with battle royale.
Yeah, yeah, this one is like pretty fun. Um, but yeah, it's like
Hmm.
it is that idea where it's like the gore has been like removed from the violence, but it is basically just still like a violence trainer, like.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know, like I feel like that instinct like is in humans of like hunting is like a game, and like it's like how like tag like children play tag and like that is like hunting essentially like it's kind of like I guess a base human instinct to want to like chase and catch or something or like but yeah it's like how do you put that into a video game? There's like gorilla tag is like a good video game I guess. It's like the
Yeah.
yeah the
In
like
VR.
right.
Is that like VR only?
Yeah, I think that is a VR one, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's like a really like uh people are like drawn to that style of game very much where it's like you're all players and like some players have to catch the other players or like get the other players. And like yeah, like the most basic version of that is just like a first person shooter. But like I find like the more like yeah, like just the more deep like levels there are on that type of gameplay, like the more like interesting it can get. Like I remember like uh Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of, like yeah, like Fall Guys
Gorilla
is
Tag's
kind
an
of like
interesting
that.
example. Like yeah, games where it's sort of like get the other team or chase the other team, but in yeah, it's so weird how like the roots of tag are about like chasing and tagging, capturing people or something.
Mhm.
Everything kind of relates back to I feel like there's like core like I've been playing a lot of Astroneer and that one is like environmental exploration and like player versus environment and then baby steps kind of as well is just like the player versus the environment,
Mhm.
but still it feels sort of like there like you feel a little bit like you want to get to the end to like survive or something or you want to avoid falling to because you feel like falling is bad or it sets you back in progress.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to like study like just how what are like objectives, what are different kinds of objectives that motivate people and how do you communicate those things?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's, like, different
Mm.
I guess it would be, yeah, different, like, multiplayer, like yeah, would be, yeah, like a tiger genre defining that type of thing, like yeah, like, if it's team games like that, then it would be, like, multiplayer or, like, yeah, co-op games. Mm. Yeah, I'm trying to think of it from the perspective of, like, building like, if I were to build a new game, like, it would be like, what do I want, I guess, the message in the game to be, or, like, what do I want the game to be about? And then, like, what genre best captures that feeling or, like, that story? And, like, having to decide whether you want it to be multiplayer or not, I think would be, like, a pretty big thing. But I guess, like
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, for me, like, if I do make a video game, like, it would be probably solo because, like, I wouldn't want to have to deal with all the multiplayer mechanics for the first game that I built.
Yeah.
Well, I
Unless you
guess, like,
did super simple
the next game
like
that I build. I don't want to do like, I've built games already, I guess, but yeah.
yeah, if you did like super simple multiplayer, like you just like got multiplayer working and then built like a very simple game on top of that,
Yeah. Yeah, I guess
that would be like one way.
like, some engines have multiplayer mechanics built in, like, now, so that you don't have to worry about, like, too much of the, like, security or privacy of the
Mm.
players on your end, maybe. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know yeah, there's always bugs and stuff like that, but it seems like for the most part, like, platforms that host games, like, usually have, like, rules or, like, care about that type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking,
Yeah.
yeah, for a one min-max jam one year, I wanted to make a multiplayer thing, but it's just hard to figure because I always feel like you have to pay like $5 to $10 a month to like rent a server, and it just always feels like not a. It feels like you're sort of like paying to provide a service, and it. I just wish there was more of a way to get like a free server somehow, or like some kind of just a server that could accomplish something for free so that it felt more like you can build something that can just exist in the wild.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just feels like running a server just feels like you. I'm always like checking if the server is up or there's places that you can like pay them a bit more, like $12, $15 a month, and they'll like make sure the server is like always up and it has the updates and stuff for you.
It that's kind of
Uh,
funny because yeah, it seems like if you were doing that for yourself, like, if you were trying to run your own server, then it's like you might as well just start a business where you check other people's servers for them too.
yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's so I haven't found a good way. Like I wish there was just a way to like write some code and then just like run a command that says like put this on a server somewhere. I wish it was like invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice too if like part of like maybe part of the government funded internet was just that every person has a little place they can run some code on a server with like certain capabilities, and everyone just gets that for free. So then it's just like a public good is the ability for every person to sort of have a little server they can do what they want with.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, my friend, because you can run like a server in your own house, like you can have like a little Raspberry Pi or something, but sometimes people have difficulty getting to it if it's like in your home network. They can't like visit it. My friend had found some kind of technology that it's called like tail scale, and somehow you can expose like devices on your home network for people to visit from like the public internet.
Mhm.
Uh, I think it does some kind of like because things on your home network can like call out to other things, and when
Yeah,
they do that, they can like receive information temporarily. So I think this
yeah,
tail scale thing might just like like it keeps like requesting information to keep like a port open that's listening, and then you can sort of other things can know about that open port and like come back, and it like uses polling or something to keep it open, I imagine.
yeah.
But that's kind of interesting because if you could set up like you could make like little Raspberry Pi servers that you just plug in, and then
Yeah,
they
you could
listen on your
run.
home network. Yeah, you could sort of set up a thing that's like very plug and play where now like any code on this Raspberry Pi is just open to the internet. And uh, servers, I guess though, if it's just in your house, it might be kind of slower for people to interact with.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't.
I've heard
It would be
I've heard
hard
of
to run
people.
multiplayer.
Yeah, I've heard of people, like, setting up, like, yeah, secondary networks, like, in their own house to run, like, servers off of too, to, like, increase, like, the or, like, decrease the chance that somebody can get, like, into their network through whatever they're hosting.
Yeah.
Like, that's always a possibility too, is, like, yeah, setting up, like, a secondary network to host things on for, like, yeah, increased security if you wanted to, like, host your own game server or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing too. Yeah, like hosting in your own house, like you kind of have to leave the thing on all the time, and there's a security risk. So then
Yeah,
it's once again easier to be like, oh, I'll just rent something somewhere. But yeah, there's just I haven't figured out like a very seamless, easy, like solid way. There's kind of a cool
yeah,
thing
well, I mean,
called
there's
like there's like a peer-to-peer thing where if like some games work like this where I guess that's kind of how. Well, yeah, it's hard to tell sometimes, but sometimes, like if you're running a game on your computer, like a friend can connect with you with like some kind of join code or whatever, and sometimes those, yeah, like one player is the host and the other player just connects to them directly, and so for the game set, like during the game session, there's no like server; it's just like two computers playing the game together, and
mhm.
that's kind of cool. Like, because then if you just like build that code in, then whenever people like want to use the game or the product, one person just kind of acts as like the server, and that's kind of cool. But then that's also a bit flaky and sometimes hard. Like it doesn't work in all cases.
Mhm.
But yeah, I
Yeah, I'm
thought it would
trying
be
to
cool to make like a min max, like a multiplayer min max game that it would be like when they play it on stream, you could do like a little community meetup where people can join.
Oh, yeah, I
But I
think you were
just,
talking before about,
yeah,
like, there would be, like, dancing or, like, you were thinking of doing a dance floor or something.
yeah, I just haven't figured out like a very easy way because it would just be like I would have to run probably a server during when they play, which would not be too hard, but it is just it's a it's not super easy to like write code, put it to a server, test the server, like it's now another machine, and
Yeah.
uh yeah, it makes it like more less easy to like control the whole application because it's in different
Do you
places.
know what platform do they usually stream on when they do the showcase? Because you
I
could
think at least yeah they have a Twitch channel and then they do a double stream to like YouTube.
yeah, you could do a Twitch plugin, I think, to do something like that too. like if they're playing the game on screen, then you could have like a Twitch plugin. So like they could be playing the game and it could be completely self-encapsulated on their machine. And then you could have a Twitch plugin that like overlays over the screen and viewers could do like exclamation point like join or something and then it would like create a character where they could walk around over the Twitch screen. So you could do something like that, but and then like you wouldn't have to think of like hosting the game in a multiplayer way, but then you would have to figure out how to write a Twitch plugin that does something like that.
Yeah, that could be interesting because yeah, if I made a little game that was just like in a Twitch plugin, that could be like my game. They could sort of play that passively. Like they could play other people's games and just leave the plugin running, and it could be like this little game that's happening
Mhm.
somewhere on screen the whole like during the whole stream. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I've seen people do really cool things with Twitch plugins, but not something that's like cross media like that. Like usually it's like self-contained within the plugin. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see
Yeah, I
like
wonder how self-contained. Like sometimes the Twitch plugin is communicating with like a computer somewhere that's like doing uh
yeah.
like
Yeah,
when a
like
user,
production
yeah, it's like
hosting.
yeah, somehow I think like I heard someone where it's like people make chats and then the chats get like sent by Twitch to like your server, which you have to like you're responsible for, and then you send back or then you send like a video feed back to Twitch and then Twitch overlays it. But I think there's some difficulty in like intaking the chats and then creating like the video that needs to be displayed fast enough because then
Mhm.
there's like lag time and stuff. So then there's some like difficulty there where it just you have to be like smart about how it's built and then it's kind of complicated.
Yeah. Oh yeah, actually I'm thinking now like there is the Pokemon those like Pokemon games where the chat can play like by typing in. That is like a cross media version of the Twitch uh
Yeah. I guess
plugin.
that must
Yeah.
be like whatever Pokemon games being shown must be like being run on some computer somewhere that someone's like maintaining, and then like Twitch is just like intaking the chat and sending the chat messages to
Yeah.
like the server, and so then yeah, it's basically just like running a server, but the input to the server and the where the output from the server goes is basically the front end is like Twitch, and then
Yeah.
you're still running like some machine somewhere.
Yeah. But that could be a way to do it too. Yeah. It's like I wonder how because I think the chats on Twitch are like open like as well. Like you can go to like a web address that will be like just the chat of somebody's stream. So like you could
Oh, yeah.
have yeah, like you could have something
Oh,
in the game
that's
that
pretty
that
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you could have something in the game that points to watch their chat and see like and read it, and then you could have the game be interactive like based on what their chat is saying
Mm.
too. That would be cool.
That's pretty good. Yeah, that's actually a pretty good way to yeah, structure a multiplayer game. It could be sort of like almost like a single player game where like a platformer or something, but then you can write commands in chat to like alt like modify the game somehow. And that would be a nice way
Yeah.
to just have yeah, like there you could just sort of have
Yeah.
everyone like participate in chat, but then your server just
Yeah.
has to deal with one like text stream or something. Yeah.
You could have a game where like the community has to like min max something like in the game and it's like how well can the min max
Mhm.
community min max like
Yeah.
that'd be funny.
Yeah, I've often thought like what stuff is like good to min max. Like it'd be fun to do something like that, but I need to think of something that's uh like that sort of makes sense, like minimize. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be fun to think of like a simple game premise that's something like Tetris or something where it's like minimize one metric but maximize like another.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, it could
But
be
yeah, I
like a
still
road.
in general though, I just want to find like a nice like website that's like $5 to $10 a month and very easy to manage like a machine and then just like the thing that I would like is I can write like a simple function on my computer and then very quickly say like put this on the server, and then you can like in a URL like put data in a URL and hit that URL, and then the server would like respond with a response or something. And
Mhm.
that's but I just haven't found like a site that isn't like you go to the site and you have these monthly annual plans, and then you have to like learn their UI, and you don't really have a sense for how powerful the server is going to be if it can handle certain things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm always like there's a lot of projects that I feel would be very interesting and fun with servers, but then it's like I guess I can rent like one server for $10, and if I have a second project where I just want a fresh server, then all of a sudden you're paying like $20 a month, and it's sort of like now there's a hard limit on how many projects you can kind of do. Like you could use one server for multiple projects, but that you might need to sort of install some kind of like project management. Like there's this thing like Docker where you could make like Docker containers for different projects and spin them up and down. But then after a while, you have a lot of stuff running on one machine, and you kind of forget what's on it. Uh,
Mhm.
so there's not. It's kind of frustrating all that uh, there isn't just like a very like an invisible layer. Yeah, at one point it was kind of fun. I wrote this thing like you could for $5 a month you can rent like a Linux server with like nothing on it. Like it's just like a Linux machine, and it's pretty cheap. But then every few like months or whatever, you'll have to like reset the machine to like install updates. So if you have
Mhm.
any sort of like long running process, you have to start like writing extra code that will like automatically start it up at boot up so that it's easier to run updates. But I wrote like it was kind of interesting. There's this website Linode where you could like spin up a server for like $5 a month, and then I wrote like a script that would like you just give it like the address of the server, and the script like installs everything that you want to install to get to a basic point where you can like write the kind of code that you want to write. And then I made there was like a GitHub repo where you could push like a function to the repo, and then automatically the repo would like put that function on the server. And that was nice because it was sort of like from my desktop I could like write code that was just like a function, and then run like one command, and then a server would be like ready to like you could send like two numbers for example through in a URL, and the server would like add the numbers and respond with the sum or whatever.
Mhm.
And but then that was very flaky as well because uh, it was like you had to like explain to GitHub like how to update the server, and then if you leave it running for a while, the server would need updates, and it was also like $5 a month. Uh, so it just doesn't feel like solid enough. It feels like you
Yeah.
can't just like rely on it. I would always be like every time I think of the project, I'd be like, oh yeah, is that still working, or is there some kind of issue or update that needs to happen?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I guess that's like the motivation for most people to, like sell their game maybe is to like fund the server in a lot of cases.
Yeah, that too is yeah, it's like if you want to make a free game, it's very hard to make like a multiplayer game with servers because then that's the cost that you
Yeah.
can't really avoid is some kind of server cost,
Yeah, those are usually
and
the
that's hard to
games that I feel the best about giving money to though. Like I think web fishing was one of those ones where it was like an itch.io or like some like indie browser game, and then they were like, yeah, like we want to start selling this because like the server or something like
yeah.
it was like yeah, it was like yeah, I'll give money to that because like the project feels like it's like yeah, community based, and like that's always a really positive thing. Like yeah, I like to see like people that have like that experience of like doing something for the good of the people around them. Like those are the people that I would want to see continue on and to do well in business because I think that would be like the best way business could affect our world is like having people that yeah have that experience already of like doing something good for the good of it. And then it's like okay, you can make money for that now, like okay, you've done it.
Yeah, Patreon is kind of like that. There's a lot of like good creators on Patreon that just for like a $4 or $5 a month, you're supporting like their continuing work. I wish
Yeah.
there was more. It would be nice if like if you knew like as we learn about like different indie game developers that we like, we could support them on Patreon, and then they would just be like making games, like making simple games for free on itch, but we would be paying like per month on Patreon or something.
Yeah. Yeah, the only thing about that is like I find it difficult to like choose like a game or something on Patreon to like contribute to because there's so many that like I know that I could find that would be like worth giving their money to. So it's like how
Mhm.
do you like yeah. And I always feel bad like unsubscribing or like to like a Patreon or something like that. So it's like yeah, it's like maybe that's like the more maybe that's yeah, it's like I'd be interested to see what most people's behavior surrounding that is. Like if most people like now that Patreon and like Kickstarter and stuff have been around for a while, like I'd like to see what the group behavior of like subscribing to things like that is. Like if people will like subscribe and unsubscribe to things like they would streaming channels when it's like an indie developer or something, or like do they feel more connected or like do they just like accumulate multiple prescription subscriptions like I'm sure like
Mm.
there's different yeah people probably go about it different ways but yeah I wonder because like there must be obviously it's stable enough that those creators are able to like some of them are making like livings off of it where they're just like developing games and they're able to like support themselves by the community that's supporting them so
Yeah, I
but
think
like I
there's
wonder
definitely
yeah
I think if they like there would always be like a certain rate of people leaving, and you'd have to like have making content to attract new people to maintain like a stable number. But yeah, I
yeah
think that's the regular like yeah, if you're like doing new stuff and new people are coming in, then you'll remain
yeah
like constant with people leaving.
Yeah, I'll bet that it does largely depend on yeah the content that's being put out. Like if it's more personal content, then the people probably stick around longer, like for the subscriptions. But if it's like more impersonal, like if it's like an OnlyFans thing, then people probably don't feel bad like unsubscribing. Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting to think
Mhm.
about too. Because like the
Yeah,
business
in my mind,
models would be set up differently too. Yeah,
yeah, I have. There's maybe like 5 or 6 like Patreons that I always have going at different times, and usually there's like a couple communities that I'm like weekly or daily like watching stuff from. So then I feel like the money's like worth it. Sometimes there'll be like a creator that does like one cool thing, so then I'll subscribe and unsubscribe for like 1 month,
yeah,
just to like
yeah. I've done that.
see, yeah, like what and maybe if they make like more stuff, I'll stay like longer. Or some
Yeah,
places I'll do like an annual because you can get like a discount for annual subscription. So then I'll do that for like 1 year, and then when it just expires, if I'm like still engaged a year later, I'll like continue it. Otherwise, they'll just unsubscribe.
yeah. Yeah, I find I do that too. Yeah, if somebody does something like really interesting or relevant, then I'll subscribe for like 1 month or something. Especially if there's like something behind the paywall, like where they're like, oh, you can get access to like extra scenes from this interview, like on our Patreon. Then like that's something I would be like, okay, I'll subscribe for like a month or something. But then there are like I do have like longer subscriptions too, where it's just
Mm.
like it's like people or like yeah like indie games that I've found that like I go back to check on what's going on with them often enough that like I feel like I should be giving money to that because it's like it feels almost like it's like yeah I feel like I should be giving money to this because I'm like I'm viewing it like I would TV or something like that's
Mm.
I'm spending enough of my time on it that I think this person's content is worth money for my time like or something like in the same way that I would pay for satellite or like television or something almost like I have that feeling about it.
It is nice to feel like it's a donation, or like we see the artistic value in something someone's doing, and then we just want to make have them have like an easier time doing the thing. It's fun
Mhm.
to like just feel that connection where it's sort of like it doesn't matter what they make, like they're an interesting person, so then just enable them to continue being like interesting. But then it
Yeah, it's
is after a
interesting.
while. Yeah, it's tough though after some amount of time, if nothing like happens that catches my attention, then I end up just like canceling those Patreons and opening other ones or something. But
Yeah.
it's fun to sort of just feel like some people you just want to like see what they do and be part of supporting them or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, like, usually, like, the type of like, the subscriptions that I have that are, like, longer term are, like, uh, it's, like, people that like, I think we were having a conversation before where I said, like, something that's interesting to me is when people decide to share, like, their human experience online. So I would say, like, some of the like, I do have, like, longer subscriptions where like people where it's like to people that have shared like a personal experience that like normally most people like wouldn't share online, but you can tell that like them sharing that has had like a positive impact in a way. And yeah, like that's something that I think is worth money too, is like people that are like willing to go beyond like themselves a little bit to share something that they think will positively impact like the internet.
What's like a yeah, it makes me think of one dev that I follow. I think it's called like Artemis Dev or something. And he's got like a couple small games on Steam, and he quit his job a couple of years ago, and he's talking about like he has a certain amount of savings, and he looks very closely at like his how much money he spends and earns like in a given month.
Mhm.
And a couple like it took him maybe like 1 or 2 years to get to a point where he's kind of like breaking even in terms of like money in and money out. And it's very interesting because it's like down to like he's looking at like amounts of like $5, like $50, and he's
Yeah.
looking at sort of like that flow, and it's very like a very precise like, and he's not making that much money at all, but he has like a low cost of living, and then he does like coaching on the side for indie game development, and that like he gets like YouTube revenue, game revenue, coaching revenue, and all of that adds to like I don't know, like just enough to like afford rent and food and whatever he's budgeted. And
Mhm.
then he talks about like burnout, and he does like Twitch streaming, and his talks about like how his next game launch, how he intends for it to go.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think of like he's very like open, direct about his goals in life, and he reflects on like why he's doing the indie game. I don't know if that's what the kind of stuff you meant, like sort of people showing the
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
like
behind their life.
yeah. Yeah, like, people discussing burnout is really interesting to me because it can happen in, like, different ways. And, like, yeah, indie developers, I think, like, experiencing burnout is, like, it's, like, in kind of like an unseen danger in that world or in that space, like, because some people are, like, making their total, like, living and, like, savings or, like, for any type of, like, if they get hurt or something, like, it's coming out of their savings to fix how they're hurt. Like, I think there's like kind of like an unseen, yeah, danger in the world of like indie development or like indie art creation where like people do need to discuss it and say like, hey, like this is like I've been doing these things, it's my full-time job, but like I really don't want to do them anymore and I'm suffering burnout and I don't know what to do. Like I feel like people that are in that situation, there's not enough like discussion around like how to like tackle like situations like that in a healthy way. So like the more people that are like honest with their communities and say like, hey, like this is giving me burnout and like I don't know if anybody else has experienced this, like it's just like it's like change like it does change the narrative of whatever their art is like a little bit, but I think it's like also like a very important part of like artistic creation comes from experiences like that. So sharing them helps people like understand the artwork that that person is producing more as well too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway, that's like I guess what I've experienced like watching people that do that sort of thing.
That
Mm.
gave me an interesting idea where, like, instead of paying for Patreons directly for individual creators, it would be kind of cool if you could go on Patreon and look at like overarching like themes, and you could decide like I want to pay like $5 a month to encourage people to talk about burnout, or not like encourage them to, but reward like any like if I feel like discussions about burnout are valuable and I want to support people that are having them, then you could pay like $5 a month for the concept of like burnout, and then within the Patreon community, any creators that are like producing content that discusses that would get like a would split that like money that you've
Hmm.
paid, and then it would sort of be
Yeah.
like it would be a way of like rewarding all creators that are making content of a certain style. It would be hard to
Yeah.
do it where you're not just like if there was like a lot of money in burnout, then you'd have more people like pretending to do content about that, but maybe you could sort of hide the numbers where uh like yeah, you can just sort of whatever you're passionate about, you can select those things, and then creators, but I guess creators could still vary their content to like figure out what where the money is. And so yeah, that would be it would be hard to I'm sort of thinking in terms of stocks, like because there's index funds where like you can buy stock in like just the like America itself or the top 500 companies, and it feels like that should be sort of for Patreon as well. But I guess it's not really the same thing because you do with stock, like you do want the top companies to like do better to make the stock
Yeah.
go up.
Yeah, I
I
find
guess you
like
could, yeah,
mhm.
it
It's
could be
hard to
like,
have online it's
mm,
hard to have online communities that are like centered around mental health without it also like spurring a little bit of like not like idolization, but um like like making it seem attractive, I guess. Like it would be hard,
mm,
I think, to like have like I see that happen pretty often in like a lot of different mental health communities that I've seen, like where like people will come into the community and then they'll see people connecting on the fact that they have this like issue together, and then more people will like pretend to have that issue or something until they have the issue because it makes them fit into a group. So
yeah,
like I think
I think, yeah, it seems like one of those styles of communities where like the people that join the community and get the help they need end up getting better and leaving, and then what you're left with over time is like the people that don't get better, that are just
yeah,
like
like the
there
people
long
that are
term. Yeah.
consistently like connecting on the issue or something like that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
same for like employment communities or dating communities. It's like the people who couldn't get a date or a job are just there forever, and the people that do are successful, they leave, and so you don't see those people.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's an interesting phenomenon in general. Is I wonder if that's sort of a general thing about all online communities, like the people that do well in the communities kind of leave after a while, and then the people that are around are like the ones that are not able to move on or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it depends on like the individual perspectives too, cuz like I think there can be like healthy ways for people to stay in communities like that, like where they've just found like oh I like maybe they just really like helping peers that have the same issue as them, and like even though they've overcome it, like they want to meet more people and help more people overcome that thing or something too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm. Yeah, it seems like a pretty like weird deep note to like end a whole thing on. But we can probably end the call for today here.
Well, it is exciting though to think like if we pivoted to a not like not a Patreon in terms of the company model, but like if there was some kind of just economy where it was like Venmo, but you could subscribe to different people and everybody would kind of advertise what they are doing and want to do. That is
Mhm.
something that's exciting to me, is like a future where we sort of just give small amounts of money to people that we trust in advance to have
Yeah.
them do good work. Yeah, and then it's sort of like we're never buying anything. We're just like
Yeah, you
content is
create
being
a
created. Yeah, and
little
we're just getting it
economy.
for free as we subscribe. So we sort of just like, we make money, we pay the money to other people, and then it feels like a much more holistic like community of like we're making things and paying the money we make out for other people to make things, and and by doing that, we're developing networks of things that we're interested in and supporting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I wonder, I'd like to read a book about like some kind of that economic mindset, because it's not really like communism. It's like if you're doing something well, you get a lot of money, but you give most of that money away to other people for them to do things that you like, and but then you don't need any money yourself because somebody enjoys farming and is making food, and you like the food they're growing, so you give them like money in advance to
Yeah.
just have a portion of the food for free. And it
Yeah, I
just
guess
feels,
it would
it's
be
almost
like
like a, yeah,
socioeconomics, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, it's like it feels like communism, but you don't just get to be there by default. It's like you have to go meet other people and develop networks and figure out what they need and what you need, and be
Yeah.
like you're motivated to like be connected to the community in a deep way, so you can really figure out how you can be of service. And by leaning into that, you
Hmm.
get money, you sort of receive the things you need and give what you want to see or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see like I think that's something that is on like a lot of people's minds, like what socially motivates people to do things, like especially right now. Like I think there's very the different generations have like very different things that are socially motivating them. And it's just
Yeah.
interesting to see, yeah, like it's like how is society going to be able to like cohesively connect and continue like in a financially positive direction with so many different things that are like socially motivating us to succeed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, yeah, good conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one too. So I think I'm free next week too. So we can talk about
Yeah,
it
it should be
instead.
too. Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.